Usually take this app seriously, but what just happened to me was amazing. Obviously, none of you know this, but I've been homeless for quite some time now, and I've been staying with random people. It's been extremely detrimental to my mental health, as you can guess. But anyways, I was bumming around downtown, rich people territory. I was bumming around downtown with my friend Sarah, and I stumbled across a piano outside of one of the fanciest restaurants there. And I was like, yo, I love playing piano. So we popped in and asked if I could play it, and they were all like, sure. And so I sat down in the seat, started playing, and then a few minutes later, a guy starts videoing me. Then he goes back into the restaurant, and I was like, well, okay, whatever. A little bit later, another guy comes out, sits right next to the piano, so I was like, okay, maybe they want us to leave. So I got up to leave, and the guy was like, do you want some breakfast? And me and Sarah were like, we are just way too poor to be here, so no, thank you. And he was like, no, I own the restaurant, and I want to give you breakfast. And we were like, okay. I sit down, and he offers me a job to play piano outside of the fanciest restaurant in downtown 3 times a week.
Time that happened in 2nd grade. So my teacher never allowed fidget spinners, and my friend always brought one to school because that was the only thing that helped us focus. But every time she saw it, she would take it, and she would never return it even though she said she was. So me and my friend, I'm gonna call her Jalen, and my other friend, I'm gonna name her Caitlin. So me, Jalen, and Caitlin all had this plan to sneak into school and take our fidget spinners. So at recess, we had this plan spot behind the tree, and we would all talk about it. This girl even didn't eat her lunch because her teacher took away her fidget spinner. Anyway, we all had this plan to sneak in school and break the windows, go in class and steal all our fidget spinners and give them back to the owners. But every time we talk about it, we'd get caught by this one kid named Nathan, and he would all go tell the teacher. But the teacher didn't care, obviously, because she knew we weren't going to do it. Like for part 2. Okay, part 2 of the fidget spinners. Okay, so as you know, Nathan was going to tell on us, and the teacher obviously didn't believe us because we were little kids and he knew we wouldn't do that. So we all had a plan that the next day we would all meet up at the playground in the school at 6 p.m. So that day, no one showed up. I didn't even show up. And the next day at school, we all got mad at each other for not showing up when we all said we showed up, but you guys didn't. And I didn't show up. My friend didn't show up. None of us showed up. But we just lied about showing up. So we just gave up and we just never did it again because we knew we would never get our fidget spinners. Tell me if you want more.
Story time. So this was 2 years ago, and I was at school, and it was a normal day until the principal went on the speaker and said, we're in lockdown, go in your closets. So we went ahead and went in the closets. We were all confused. Some people were scared. Everyone was kind of asking the teacher what was going on and stuff. Now during this time, I wasn't asking anything or saying anything because I knew during a lockdown you don't want to say anything. So if there is someone in the school, they won't find where you are. But I was still listening to them because I was curious like everyone else. So while everyone was asking the questions, one girl stood up and said, if you're not going to say what's going on, I'm going to get out of the closet. The teacher yelled at her and told her no. And the teacher yelled loud, so whoever was in the school obviously heard. So the door opened and everyone became silent. And so basically for part 2. So this was welcome to part 2. Okay, so the guy that came into our school was a prisoner that escaped prison. So he was like, where are you? And he stood in there for at least 10 minutes. Then we thought he left, but he was completely silent, and the teacher gave us a look saying, do not talk and do not move. So we all listened to the way he looked, and my best friend, the girl that stood up saying she would leave, got up and left. She thought that the guy was gone and she was going to get a counselor. So as soon as she got out of the room, we heard gunshots. As soon as the gunshots said that, I knew immediately what happened. I started crying and I thought that she was dead. The guy didn't even try to come in the room that we were in, even though he knew where we were. He immediately left knowing that he should have not shot the girl. Wait for part 3. Welcome to part 3. So as soon as the guy left, we got out of the closet and started panicking. We didn't know what to do since she was shot in the head and we knew that she wouldn't make it. So we were all freaking out, and so was I, and I was crying, and I just couldn't breathe right, and I didn't know what to do. The speaker went off saying that the police and the ambulance were coming since the principal heard a gunshot too. So when the police came, they found the guy who was hiding in a locker, and he got contained and taken to the police office. The ambulance were here and went in the room and took her. They said with their face, saying she would not make it. That
Story time. So one thing to keep in mind is that my mom and my aunt do not get along. And a few years ago, my aunt was going through some financial troubles, so she had to come live with us for a little while. And since she was going through a little bit of troubles, her and my mom came up with this deal that my aunt would just help around the house, like cook dinner, clean up, stuff like that. Well, about 2 weeks after she moved in, my mom started to become really sick. And we literally had no idea what was causing it. My mom was just having severe stomach pains. And it got so bad that my mom ended up passing out and we had to rush her to the emergency room. Well, they ended up running some tests and come to find out my mom had bleach in her system. So my dad gets angry and starts questioning my aunt, and my aunt confesses to putting bleach inside of my mom's food every time she cooked for her. It was so bad that if we waited any longer, my mom would have died.
Story time. How I got revenge on the school's popular girl and never got caught. In my school, we have 3 stereotypical popular girls. Let's call them Bree, Emma, and Ava. They are all very popular, stuck up, and rude. But the main one is Bree. Bree is very toxic and rude. She forces people to do her homework and is a very terrible person. Well, in 5th grade, I decided to get my revenge on her. My teacher set up this site. I won't say his name for privacy reasons. On this site, she would give us writing prompts and we could write. However, the catch was all other students could see and edit your work. There was also no way that you could see who was editing your work because the whole site was anonymous, really. One day, the teacher gave us a writing prompt and told all of us to write. I decided to see what Bree was doing. That's when I had a great idea. Because the site was anonymous, I could edit and destroy all of Bree's work. I ended up deleting a bunch of her writings and wrote a bunch of nasty and rude comments. She ended up finding out and went around asking everyone who did that to her account. I denied it. The next day, the teacher was making us present our writings. To make it less suspicious that Bree was the only person who got hacked, I decided to hack others as well. That included some of my friends and me. I specifically stuck with just messing around with girls and not getting involved with the boys. But let me say, the next day when the teacher told us to...
This could have been the cutest little love story. When I was in 3rd or 4th grade, there was this really dumb game that kids used to play. Kids still play this, it's not hard to figure out. When there are kids swinging on the swings, someone not on the swings runs from one end to the other. So basically, you just try not to get hit by the body swinging. I guess it's a thrill. Anyway, I just want to make it clear, I was not playing this game. I wasn't about that life. I was a swinger, not a runner. But it was time for my class to leave the playground. But I was walking, I think, maybe from the bars to the place where our class was supposed to meet up and leave. I was just walking normally across the playground and boom, I get hit! Some kid hits me in the back of the head. I'll demonstrate. Straight to the ground. This kid, oh my gosh, sweetest kid ever. And I still remember, stopped what he was doing, ran up to me and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Are you okay? I did not mean to hit you. Anyway, I told him, yeah, I'm good, and walked away. I wasn't even that nice. Every single time my class was walking to the cafeteria or somewhere, the library maybe, every time that kid was in his line and he saw me, we weren't in the same class again, he would always wave at me with this most hurt expression. It's me, the kid who hit you. And I'd be like, aww.